From experienced teachers, I just kept hearing, well, for every 25 students that come, you're going to get one to stay.
We can't teach people to dance tango if they're not ready or wanting to dance tango. Not truly. It's like they're hearing what you're saying, but their body can't do it yet, or they're not understanding what you're saying at all, so they don't even know where to start.
Welcome back, guys, to Staying Grounded. I'm John. Joining me are
Amanda,
Melody,
the jam team
Jam
from
team.
Vienna Tango School.
And today, what are we talking about?
So today we're talking about why does tango feel impossible? Why is retention so low for beginner classes? And can I preface this question just for people that don't know? So before we started teaching, we were talking about, growing the community because especially DC, it's very transient. We lose people to travel or like they move. Not that they die at a high rate, but they move away. And we're really aggressively trying to grow the community. And from experienced teachers, I just kept hearing, well, for every 25 students that come, you're going to get one to stay. So why is retention so low? Why is it so hard to get beginners to stay in tango? I have thoughts. Do you have thoughts?
I've got thoughts.
I got thoughts.
But before we dive in, I do just want to say, FYI, Melody and I do not coordinate our clothes. In fact, we bring our own set of clothes. We don't even talk about it. And we just choose whichever outfits we want when we're recording. And somehow we both put on practically the same pants and turn around and look at each other like, whoa.
Yes. And for those that are just listening, you can watch this on YouTube if you'd like, but we're in very similar pants, similar color scheme.
And also within the same color scheme family.
Yes.
So yes. John, though, I don't know.
We need fine. You guys,
we need to improve our coordination a little bit more, John.
It's okay. Well, we'll get there. But I also wanted to add one more thing. It's not even just feeling impossible for beginners. It's also for like seasoned dancers too. Because like Amanda, like a couple weeks ago, I asked you about like this thing with pivoting, and then somehow like 15 minutes later, we're working on walking again. Like inevitably, it's like, oh, apparently you can't do the most basic of things.
Yes.
So,
well, and I want to throw in something there. This is something we hear. Like obviously, beginners do drop off. I feel like there's a really big drop off at 2 years. There's another drop off at 5 years. But then it's people.
Are we just making these numbers up?
No. This is like I recognize this, and I recognize it in the beginning because I would, when you start dancing, you do that thing where you're like, "How long have you been dancing?" to everybody you dance with, and it was very rare to meet somebody that had been dancing for more than 5 years. It was like a very small number of people, and even now, like we know people that have danced for a long time, and at some point they were just like, "I don't think tango is for me anymore." So I think we got two schools. Is like, how do we keep people in it? But then what's pushing them away?
Yeah, right? I have some thoughts.
Okay.
I think referencing another video that we have, if we had more support for teachers, teaching people how to teach a dance and teaching people how to teach, period. Yeah. And teaching people how to teach tango is part of the equation.
Sure.
For sure, right? Like first we need to improve our teaching ability to keep things not only interested, but simple enough for people to pick up and intentionally progressive. I think a lot of times we sort of like teach things that we know and there may be a sequence to it, but it's hard for students to build on it and start to really understand. Like you need to have a structure for you to be able to reference back to and build off of, right? It's like the teaching aspect is really important. I think there's another element where, and maybe it's connected to the teaching, where we teach from the end instead of thinking from the beginning. Like I've been dancing now for X number of years. Now I know what's important. Now I know how important the connection is and the walk and your balance and your axes.
That's not sexy to a beginner.
But not even sexy. This is something that took years of discovering and understanding the definitions. I can't start teaching that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, it's too much too soon. I feel like we get really technical very early on, and we shy away from.
And cut.
I feel like we get very technical early on, and shy away from doing things that are interesting and fun to keep people just engaged, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I think that leads me to my third point of like creating content for students that is fun and engaging. It's hard for sure, but that has to be your focus, because we can't teach people to dance tango if they're not ready or wanting to dance tango. Not truly. We can show them some possibilities and get them moving. I feel like we need to get them in the state where they're like, oh, but what about this? Can I do this? What's next? I want more.
Yeah.
Now you have them in the right mindsets to actually go deeper.
Yes.
But if we try to go deeper too soon, then it's like we're creating so much complexity for them early on.
Yes.
I will pause here.
So, okay, so it's really maybe that we have to actually understand what the expectation a beginner has. And we are so used to only seeing things from our point of view, which has an extensive history of learning and dancing and having discussed all of this. But to them, they probably don't even really see much of a difference between tango and salsa or bachata or any of the other dances. And especially if they have taken another dance where there is a basic step like swing or salsa and where the culture is different, then they might have expectations because they don't really know. So that's a big piece. I think the other piece is, and we talked about this a bit, is that when they start to develop their own communities, they're more likely to stay. They have to feel like they belong. So encouraging them to feel belonging is really important, right? And I think that part is really hard. So like getting the right mix of people and also getting them to mix.
That's a great. I love that.
Right?
Let's put that on a shirt.
That's yeah. And understanding from a beginner's point of view what is too much. So like we would have these small classes where we only had like 2 new students, and then we're like, oh, they get like basically a private lesson. But to them, they were like, oh my God, that was so intimidating, right? They don't want one-on-one only, like a teacher focused solely on them.
Yeah.
That's like so much pressure for a brand new dancer. So instead, actually creating an environment where you're giving it to them and allowing them to learn and not overwhelming them. I think that part is really important.
Yeah.
So John, you want to weigh in here?
Yes. So I definitely agree with you. You know, having been the guy doing that essentially mini private during our class for the new beginners, it definitely has a different feel when we have a beginner cohort that's 20 people. Like it's just a different energy in the room. And I think when you're at that point, everyone's excitement sort of feeds off of each other. So there's like it's almost like I'm crowdsourcing excitement from the group, so that they're more likely to stay. Yeah, no, for sure. Like as teachers, I think being able to curate an environment is important, not just making yourselves available.
So what do we think, like if we dive a little bit more, what might be some of these mental blocks? So let's say we get a good setup, a good structure, we have good content, it's going to be engaging, but what might be some mental blocks? And we can maybe cover both from the perspective of mental and physical blocks of a new joiner, but also someone well down the line that still is like trying to get back into relearning or expanding their understanding some more.
I think a big mental block is people don't like to be bad at things. And even starting, like I think it takes a certain level of vulnerability for day one. And this applies to the brand new beginner. It also applies to a more experienced dancer who identifies like, oh no, I need to keep learning, right? To humble yourself and just go in as a blank slate is difficult. So I think just even like one, validating to them like, hey, we all got to suck for a while before we can get good, right? And then I think as teachers, we have to be able to kind of tease out what helps them learn the best. What is it? Is it visual? Is it verbal? Like, is it just doing it and failing over and over until they get it right? Like, it's going to be different for all different people, right? And for some people, like, yes, we teach from the basic 8. Some people, which I'm that person, like putting together, like, oh, you got to do this with your left or your right. Like, I just teaching me with just, it's a forward step or a side step or back step is for me much better. But I know that, like, for a lot of our students, having the structure of the basic 8 is going to help them to learn these concepts. So being able to even just verbalize these different ways of thinking about it is going to help people get through the block, I think.
As you were talking, it made me think about something a bit tangential, which is sometimes people, you only have an hour, hour and a half max in the class, but it doesn't mean that the class, most of the times, like, a concept is introduced, maybe a sequence, and the idea is you end that class knowing how to do that thing. And I think it's a bit of a false misnomer because it takes time. It's going to take multiple iterations for you to really digest what was being said. So either it's a fault of the class to be too big of a ask, or it's a fault of us not setting the expectations that we're introducing this we're gonna keep iterating on it. Just because you leave here today not knowing how to do it doesn't mean you won't get to it in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
So I think we expect that. I think as a student we expect every class to end with a very solid performance of the lesson at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
That can also be challenging.
Yeah.
It's a fair expectation to have.
It depends where they are in the journey, right? Because if you're like, oh, I'm going to teach you this technique by teaching this combination, so you're going to understand the dynamic in this movement. And let's say you're a more experienced dancer, sure, that might be something appropriate. But if you're talking about somebody in their first year of dancing, that's probably not appropriate, right? But in the first couple of years, it's more that you're picking up pieces of each class and different people are picking up different pieces of it, right? And then they could probably take the exact same class in year 2 and they're going to pick up the different pieces of it because they're ready for it, right? Because it's a language and they couldn't even hear the sentences before. They could only pick up individual words.
But is that on us as teachers then to create more bite-sized classes so people do walk away with something tangible, some sense of accomplishment?
Yes, we have to have, like, very concrete ideas of goals. We have to have some objectives, and we have to have a good understanding of where our students are. And for us, like, we're teaching more beginner level and a little bit of smattering of intermediate, right? So for us, I think it's like really understanding where they are in that moment and not asking too much. Because again, we don't want to overwhelm them. So it's that they can walk away with certain concepts that they know that they're going to continue working on and how they can continue to work on it. And we're boring, John. John is over there yawning.
Sorry.
I was holding back my yawn. I'm boring myself.
No, but like I also think as teachers, it's important for us to celebrate the students when they achieve something, even if it's
tiny.
We can tell, and it's like it can be a big deal. And if we recognize it, I think that is a big boost to them. And signifies progress. I do like the idea of having more bite-sized, lessons for the students. But I also do think, I mean, like in my lived experience, there have been a couple of times where clearly I had a class and there was some seed planted, and then 4 years later, somebody said something and I connected the dots. It's like, oh, wow, I should have thought about that more.
Well,
but
that's what they meant.
Yeah. So, but kind of, I mean, like we said, like people learn differently, and sometimes you kind of just need to throw enough things at the board and seeing what sticks, right? And then, so I think bite size is good, but we can't assume that another approach would also be productive for other people.
But you know what I've realized, John? It's not only is it good as a teacher to very clearly verbalize when the student is making progress, not just for them to feel excitement, but we're actually teaching them how to learn, because they'll be like, really? I did it? They don't even realize when they've done the thing yet, because they don't know what it's supposed to feel like.
Yep.
And so they look to you to validate that. And I'm like, yeah, you did. They're like, are you sure you weren't just like doing it because I was like, no, you really led that. I really followed it. And so sometimes they don't even realize when they've hit an achievement point. And that to me is astounding. I forget that they won't know it necessarily, even if they felt it, they won't make that connection. And so you need to like verbally point them to that, so that the more they feel it, they know that's a good thing.
Yes, that's true.
So weird.
Yes.
I didn't see that one coming as a teacher, but
yes.
I think I wonder too, though, one of like the biggest things, one of like the most foundational part about dancing this improv dance is communication. Usually communication comes through the connection. And I hesitate sometimes to even say the word connection. Because it's like, that's such a loaded word that we have learned over time what it means, because we've experienced good and bad. We've refined it. We've heard different people talk about it in different ways. So it has more meaning to it. But for someone to just walk off the streets and come and hear the word connection, it's like, okay, I'm physically touching you. I'm connected to you. Is that it? So there's some vocabulary that we use that we're so used to, but it has no meaning or relevance for a new joiner.
Yeah.
Like being connected, being grounded. Like what are the words do we say? Well, definitely pushing off the floor. That's a hard one. But like there's just
forward intention.
Intention, invites, like these words that we use that makes perfect sense to us now. Like, how do we break that down for someone who has no concept?
I think part of it is you identify it as they start learning it. So I think, giving them the framework where there's a shared understanding on both sides of what they're doing, and allowing them the space to start developing curiosity when things don't work out. Because I think ultimately they have to learn it, because everybody's tango is different. Everybody's connection is a little different, right? And then also physically showing them. I think like for us, I think we've all found that like actually going with each of our students and showing them and communicating what we mean is a very nebulous thing, right? Has been the most beneficial. And sometimes they innately get it and sometimes they don't. Like they're not used to being as present physically. They're not used to being as perceptive, but that doesn't mean they'll always, it's like a skill they have to refine, right? So I think that's at least from our experience what I found.
So what I'm hearing in that is let them explore, let them find it. If we're able to catch that they're getting it, then we can name it. So now they put the feeling to the name. I love that. Yeah. I love that.
So, and well, the other thing that really has to happen is we need more experienced dancers to come and help nurture the new dancers. Because like I could tell in my very first, okay. I could tell the first lesson okay. But actually, I'm going to disagree with you here. If they have more experience and they can communicate a lead, we want them to come and help us. Because even in my very first lesson, I was, there were like 70 people there. It was excruciating. It was so bad. It was like so uncomfortable.
First class.
Yeah, I know. We'll try to work on that marketing. But
can we do a podcast on marketing? Because I have to say, guys, Melody's a marketing genius, and we're starting to see the fruition of it. And I just really would love to talk about that. But
yeah, maybe like.
Let's give us 6 more months.
So that's
okay, fine. Let's make sure the results are consistent. But so far,
that's
6 more months.
That's a pay-per-view episode. Members only.
Good point.
Well, we can definitely talk about what is drawing people to tango or not drawing them to tango. But in this workshop, there were a lot of people. It was, as it usually is in a beginner class, was pretty uncomfortable as a follow. but then it was that somebody more experienced came and led me, and it was that moment. It was that moment where I was like, oh, that's what it's supposed to feel like.
Right.
And I don't know that I would have been as enamored by it if I hadn't felt that lead. So it's like allowing our brand new leaders to feel what a follow that's been dancing even a year feels like, right? And allowing our follows to feel what a lead feels like even after 1 year. They don't have to be 5 years in. They don't have to be the most amazing dancer in the world. They just have to feel that confidence that starts to develop one time. Because then hopefully they go, oh, that's what's possible.
I don't disagree with you in having people that are more experienced come. I just think that we need to have some like general understanding of like what's etiquettes.
Oh, sure.
What's not just etiquette, but like how do you communicate to someone something like, because also too that can ruin people's experience. Because sometimes like I've seen more experienced dancers trying to help less experienced dancers, and they're just like guiding them down the wrong path. Like,
oh, I mean,
so...
we want them in class to just do the steps that we're prescribing them to do, and that's it.
But even then, being super clear, like that's
Yes.
what you're being asked to do.
Yes.
And if you want to give feedback, here's how you can give feedback. Here are things to pay attention to. Here are things that you'll feel that won't feel right, but just ignore it for now because it's okay. You can't fix every single thing.
Yes.
You just pick the most important thing to work on. So yeah, that's what I mean by,
Sure.
caveat.
Sure. We can give structure to it. Yeah.
But even still, I see, even working when we go around the room and we'll dance with everybody and we'll lead and follow, I can just see like this visible frustration at times when they're just not getting it. And it's like they're hearing what you're saying, but their body can't do it yet, or they're not understanding what you're saying at all, so they don't even know where to start. And it's like you can taste their frustration. And it's like you try to keep them calm and keep them focused on what they can do in the moment. But that's also another piece, I think, is if we don't find a good way to mitigate or to make, I don't know, not to make them feel better, but to find a way to work through frustration in a way that feels progressive, that could also turn off people, because nobody is paying to come spend an hour in their evening time to just feel frustrated for, like, they could be at home with their partners feeling frustrated.
Well, okay, but I think like one, we can't really dictate the way they handle frustration or
Correct.
disappointment, right? So some of it is going to be on them. And hopefully we can encourage a growth mindset that they understand that they're starting. It's going to get better as they continue. Maybe we need to tell them, like, it can be difficult in the beginning, but it will get better. I think the other thing is sharing our own journeys. Like, I have that video of my after 2 lessons dancing. I am totally going to share that because I think it's really useful. Sometimes when they're starting, they think, oh, that person looks so elegant. But no, that's because they put in all the miles.
For the money, honey.
Yes. So like I think sharing our own journeys and sharing the videos that we have and the stories that we have of us in our very awkward years is beneficial.
I had no such years. Rather, I have no footage of such years.
Evidence, no tangible evidence. I do. I'll share it. No,
I'm sure there's something floating around there.
Yeah.
So, okay. I think, how can we make the learning curve better? Highlight their wins, we've said, right? Model the way to work through frustration, but ultimately it is up to them. It is ultimately up to them. And share our own journeys.
And I think also defining for them what the learning curve might look like.
Oh, yes.
So that at least can have expectations.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, hey, it's going to be maybe for some of you right now, it might feel a little bit easier. For some of you, not so much easier. We're all going to be struggling at some point together. It's going to be up and down. One day you're going to get it. The next day you're not going to get it. But over time, those ups and downs are going to become like smaller frequencies, and it's slowly going to keep increasing.
Yeah.
That's...
Well, and that it's probably a different learning curve for leaders than it is for follows.
Yeah.
So I do think for leaders, the learning curve is a little steeper. And then for follows, it's a little easier.
In the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, and helping them work through mental blocks? As
And maybe also just like us refraining from trying to overcorrect, to correct like everything,
all of us. I think all of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just find that one thing, Amanda. I think I get really excited when I'm like, oh, this thing here, let's fix it. And then they fix it. And I'm like, oh, great, this other thing. Oh, great, you fixed this other thing. And now they're like, whoa, you're saying too much.
But they got to consolidate.
Yeah, okay,
they got to take that new knowledge and consolidate it.
I think one other thing is managing our own expectations of them, and not expecting them to sort of just get everything in the first 10 explanations. Essentially, it's going to take time to because like, I don't know, it's clearly we've dancing a long time, and clearly a lot of these people haven't, and I'm very used to watching a sequence and then sort of understanding, it's like, okay, like these are the steps I need to take. I'm like mimicking what they're doing, right? But there are a lot of people who aren't used to doing that, right? So like trying to wrap around, it's like, okay, I gotta take these 8 steps in a row can be difficult, right? For people, even, and like not even getting into, the connection or the frame or whatever, like Amanda, you were saying, like just remembering 8 things can be hard when you first start out.
Yeah. All right.
I think that I'd be very interested to know, especially from teachers, whether you're a professional teacher or you're just someone trying to teach and grow your community, what works for you? How do you get your students through their difficult challenges?
Have you successfully retained them?
And for those who have, what's
doing it? Yeah. And is it about the content you're teaching, or is it that they're finding community and encourages them to stay?
I'd be curious to know which one is slightly bigger impact.
Yeah.
So many experiments to be done in this community.
Oh yeah. All right. I think that wraps it up for this one. No,
I'm feeling like it's time.
Yeah.
I've got nothing left.
That's right. All right. Well, like and subscribe. It helps other people find us.
Yeah. Leave a comment.
Check out our classes if you're in the city.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Staying Grounded. If you like this episode, please subscribe and give us a like. We would love to hear from you in the comments, and we'll see you next time.